Hi, I'm Katie, host of Focus and Flourish podcast. I used to grind nonstop until I figured out how to automate my systems that ended up helping me achieve a 4-day work week. Now I earn more and work less. Want to do the same? Grab my free 6-figure strategy guide, which is the exact blueprint I used to grow my own business to where I am today. Link in the show notes. Are you new here? Tap subscribe to support the show and never miss an episode. To today's show. Britta and I have been in touch for a while, and she's kind of a jack of all trades when it comes to brand strategy and marketing and, your online presence, if you will. So Britta is a brand strategist, digital systems architect, and tech founder featured in Business Insider for her use of AI in content creation. With a background in software engineering, design, and applied neuroscience, she helps creatives and entrepreneurs bring their vision to life through intuitive systems, personal branding, and nervous system aware strategy. Yes, I really need that too. So, Britta has a lot of different offerings, but the reason I brought her on to the podcast today is because of her experience and research and understanding of how to implement AI into your business and use it ethically. So many of us are new to this technology, and not many people are talking about ethics and using it responsibly, but Britta is. And so today we're just going to dive into a conversation around a few core, questions around AI and ethical AI and the transformation it can have. And then also, using it with intention and integrity, right? So before I kind of get you on, Britta, I do want everyone to know that her websites, social media, all of that is in the show notes, as well as a free AI assistant workbook for you to check out. So I wanted to say that first before the end of the episode. But first, what we're going to be talking about is first, hi, Britta. Welcome.
Hi, Katie. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. Me too. So the first thing I'd love for you to just share as we dive in are, can you kind of give an overview about the misconceptions about AI in the creative sector and sort of how we can preserve, I don't know how we can, or about preserving creative artistry, just because that's a big fear a lot of creatives have?
I would say, honestly, to start, AI, what it really comes down to is just a tool. It's just meant to be a tool in our toolkit. It is not meant to replace creativity. Far from it. AI is only as strong as the person who is using it, right? It feeds off of your creativity. It feeds off of who you are and what you are, what your purpose is or what you're working on or what you're passionate about. It just gives you a little bit of oomph. Sometimes it helps you through like creative blocks. Sometimes if your nervous system really needs a break, but you really need to finish a project, it helps you get to that last little stretch in, and it allows you to calm down and actually save time in your life. And so that's actually something that I help my clients with in the creative industry as well. I'm trying to stay on topic, but like AI is so vast, and it's totally. It's just like, if I could be honest, the misconceptions are one thing, but the advancements are entirely another thing. Like every day I'm learning something new. Every day AI is expanding, and we have to find a way to embrace it, because unfortunately it's not going anywhere regardless of whether we believe in it or don't believe in it in the moment. And so I believe the misconceptions are that it's out of our hands. I don't believe that at all, actually. I think AI is completely in our hands. We are shaping the future of it as we use it every day. We are essentially like, the poets with a tool, like a pen, right? We are the artists behind it, and it's like, and I mean that in a lot of ways, because AI is going to evolve in a lot of ways, right? So it's just a tool for us. It's all it is. It's a tool to enhance our creative voice, enhance our art. But with that said, it is getting better, and it is getting much better, and that scares people. And so I think that's what it really comes down to. It's like, how do we make sure we don't take it too far? How do we make sure we're not using it in a way that is replacing people or replacing art, replacing creativity?
And I think all of us kind of know, ChatGPT wrote that versus not, right? So this is actually really, I'm going to pivot from our questions, because notes on preserving the creative artistry. I mean, a prompt that would not work. Let's kind of give an example of a prompt that is just trying to replace creativity, you're not going to get, good output. And then let's toy with prompts or ways to use it that are preserving your creative artistry, but like helping you move through writer's block or whatever it might be.
Yeah. So AI essentially is, we're training it. So you use it, right? You're training how you use it. So you really want to think as far out and as wide as you can. So this also comes into the ethics thing, right? So like, it's like if you're, let's say, writing an email for your newsletter, and you decide you're going to brain dump everything out and you want to turn that into an email newsletter that's actually effective for marketing, for strategy, right? That we actually like format it in a way that is eligible and makes it easier to use, right? This is a really good way to use it because these are your thoughts. This is your mindset. This is your work. That, you know, those words are your art, right? Now we're going to use AI to take away all the little details that make it digestible, that make it exhausting.
Kind of like how we used to do a free write, pen and paper,
Exactly.
just like to start something. Okay, great. I love that.
Exactly. So I would say with a prompt, like I'd be like, this is the brain dump that I have put together. This is what I truly believe. In the most non-biased way, how can we reformat this in a way that makes it inclusive, digestible, strategic? I want you to think as my sales strategist, my marketing strategist, as well as my PR advisor and my media advisor and my personal brand strategist, and you give it these roles, right? And so I don't suggest maybe doing that all at once, but like, because you got to trade it slowly a little bit, but that's the kind of prompt I would say. I would say, like, we don't want to just be like, create me an email for my newsletter of 500 people on here, or 5,000 or 50, 100,000, whatever.
Right.
I want to take my real thoughts and I want you to make them better. But I don't want you to change my thoughts. I don't want you to change, or, you know, unless that also brings up, hold on, because sometimes it's actually really good to have AI challenge your thoughts and to not confirm everything you're saying. So if you're going back and forth brainstorming some new launch, some new creative spin you want to bring into your business, or creative spin you want to bring into like a mastermind or a new offer. Mm-hmm. And you're going back and forth, and then you're like, okay, well, what have I not considered? You have to ask questions. You have to work together. So it's a very, I know I'm going so off topic because the topic is prompts, but I'm like, there's so much with prompt engineering. It's like the better you think, like, universally as far out as you can, the better it will be. So you want to think about your personal brand and your brand and your demographics and who you're targeting, but you also don't want to limit it in that way, because if anything, it could become extreme, like an echo chamber of just like everything that I think is entirely correct. And it's like, actually, it's better if we consider other people's perspectives. And that's why you want to grab different thoughts, right? And so I've noticed a lot of people are using AI to brainstorm and reach conclusions, and sometimes that could be damaging as well if we don't challenge it. Challenge me. What other perspectives? Think outside of the box.
Right. And so, well, what I'm hearing from you is actually really fantastic to bring into this, because what you're saying is it's not just like training something, like it's new for everybody. Right? It's new for you, even though you understand more than maybe some people in this audience. But what you're saying is utilizing it for all of the spectrum, the positive output, the challenging, almost like a human being, basically, like really, really going there. And then maybe I'm just giving, maybe I do that, and then I need to put it at rest for a day and go back the following day with, my own thoughts again. But you're saying it's really a tool, and also allowing AI to challenge us, not us just being input.
I love how you said take a rest day from it, because I think that's extremely important. I think this is just as addictive as any other algorithm or, such. It's very easy to kind of like get lost in a loop of AI where you actually feel like you're producing and you're making an impact with the work, but it's actually not going anywhere, or you're not actually getting to that next step because you're stuck in that loop and you're not.
Yes.
So,
well, I think that I like to call it content overload, just like we get content overload from mindless scrolling if we are doing that to zone out or check out. So I think it really has to be used as a tool, just like, I have my best hours of the day for creative work are from 8 a.m. to 11. I know that. I'll do anything else. So using it then, and not when you're all, and I get the deadline thing that you brought up earlier, but yes, we can overdo it as well. And then perhaps get overwhelmed and removed from the whole reason we started trying to use it as a tool, right?
Absolutely.
So go ahead.
I was just going to say, it can spark up perfectionism or imposter syndrome because you can just keep going. So there's no end of this article, right? There's no
Right.
end of this brainstorm. The person on the other side is not a person. It's an AI. It's a tool. It's a computer. So it's not going to get tired. It's not going to tell you to take a break.
But
So
you're going to get tired in front of all your
yes,
devices and your screens and your
yes.
tech. And that
So
is
you
really important.
totally. So you don't have to master AI. You just have to. You have to be more mindful about it. You have to stay more mindful about it. And sure, for sure. There was something. What were you?
A rule of thumb I've actually started. So as a photographer, we have so many different ways of using a computer, and a huge part of it is ingesting photos and processing images that is in addition to the 80% of my business, which is marketing, right?
Absolutely.
So for me, I treat AI use the same as I treat screen time. Just like you can have your iPhone set for, I think it's really can be very toxic if you are just on there all day and not having boundaries. So I actually recommend to the people in my program and even just on my email list, like try it out, get to know it, figure it out, but like give yourself a limit because it starts to get, like you said, addictive. It
Absolutely.
can.
And I am.
No, go ahead.
I use AI with both my own work, my own business, but also my clients. Like, for example, I have an interior designer client. So it's a very parallel industry in the sense that, you know, it's her original work, but we're using AI to expand an entire mastermind around it. And so I'm training each one of these roles within her team. One is her personal brand strategist. One is her email marketer. One is this. And we're training out this whole team. But those aren't replacing members of her team. They're supporting members of her team. So each
Right.
member of her team gets like a different aspect, and they have all of their information is already in there so that they can make their tasks easier. And this isn't to make their output stronger. It's actually to save them time. She's like, I don't want them working more. I want a calm, like happy space. Like I want a good work-life balance. I want to let them work less. And I'm like, see, now this is how
Yes.
we use AI. This is how we do it. We actually preserve that originality. Like you're still putting it in, but we use it as just this extension of who we are and what we're
And
building.
also because the world is changing in front of our eyes, because digital marketing is sadly a must for everyone, even a brick and mortar. I mean, it just didn't used to be like this, right? So I use it that way as well. Maybe not quite so tailored, but because I love to write and I am a writer, and I also use a lot of voice dictation tools. If I'm having kind of like a flow of thoughts, I'll just speak to text
Beautiful.
often. And, you know, I've trained a very dialed in brand voice for each of these brands because I don't expect my virtual assistants to understand the nuances between Katie Monroe photography and create. They're like, what? You know, but we have that platform there to avoid like silly mistakes that waste everyone's time, and also just to be able to have my business grow with these people that also might maybe find another job someday, right? So you keep this in your system that you own as you grow your team, and then you're not totally reliant on one human being's knowledge of your brand.
Absolutely. It's
And I think
protecting
for
your own work.
small, right, I think for photographers, interior designers, small creative businesses, it's almost critical because it's also protecting your energy, like for turnover and just like with the unknowns of the world. And I won't go into that, the unknowns of the economy.
We know, but yes.
We all know. That being said, I think that's where it's a tool. That's where you're doing this for yourself, and then also enhancing the productivity and the environment for your employees. Or your contractors or whatever. I love that you brought that up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Right. Like it's preserving our energy. It's protecting our time. It's allowing us to have more time with our friends and our family and our kids and our pets and our, you know, and dedicate more time to why you started your business in the first place. Everyone I know, every creative I know started it from just pure passion. They wanted to create something. They wanted to build
Right.
something they believed in or they just loved to do. AI takes away so much of that busy work. So it helps you with so much of like the stuff that can really make you lose your passion.
Yes, and it can really only do that if it's used properly.
Absolutely.
That's the other piece I'd love to talk with you about. Oops, sorry. So, how do you suggest using AI? As a business owner, obviously this audience is predominantly photographers, but let's say, how do you suggest using AI as a creative business owner?
I would say if you've never used it before, to use it a little bit as like a personal assistant. You want to train it to understand what your business is, I would grab a couple different documents you have, some brainstorms, some, if you've ever put together a brand positioning or values or anything that they probably are doing with you as well, like whatever kind of prerequisites for your business building that you have, that you've built, put those into document form, upload that into ChatGPT, for example. It really doesn't matter what AI model, like tool you use, but they all kind of work similarly and with different trainings, but upload it into there and then go back and forth until it gets your brand voice. It starts to understand your purpose, your mission, your values, everything that you're working on, and get to a point where you can ask for a brand summary. I want a brand summary here, and I want to be able to use this in a PDF form or something like that so I could train other models. This way, now you've got this base. And so now every time you write an email or, your whatever process it is, if whatever kind of client management process that you have or whatever kind of extension, captions, marketing, you have this like starting point. Eventually I would say to expand it out depending on how big your business is growing but that's where I would say to start. But that's if we're using it in a very strategic way. When it comes to as a creative, this is different, right? Because now we want to think about like how much are we using it to edit things, like it depends on if they're artists, like there's that kind of art where people are actually having their art replaced, and there's actually some really great innovative tools out there. Glaze is the one I know about. It's it's completely free and it protects your original art. It almost like tricks AI to not copy your art. So you can do that for your images, your photos. You can actually put your photos into it, things like that. So I would say you want to make sure you're protecting your work if you're going to be using it as an artist of any form, right? Which would bring me to like my tips as well. But
I haven't used it. I wasn't even thinking of it that way, but that's really good information. Wow. Yeah. So let me ask you this. So let's just hypothetically say we're using ChatGPT. I think that's the most universally known. Yeah. So in the training phase, does one need to organize the trainings? Like if someone like me, for example, is training ChatGPT on 3 brands over the course of, let's just say, a year, like tons of content. Is it going to be able to eventually differentiate the 3 and understand the big picture of me as a business owner, and we are just there? Like, or are there going to need to be, I don't know.
So honestly, yes. The more you train it, the better it's going to get. And it's going to understand your business better than you do, which is kind of scary in a way. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of interesting. It's like you'll start out like these going back and forth about your business, and it's like, no, it's completely so trained, like so exceptionally well that at this point it really is an extension of my whole, like, how do you know that? I don't even
for someone like you, because you've
got to laugh about it, right? Because we're living in like this wild world with AI. Like you have to laugh about it.
laugh, be like, oh my god, it's like that overwhelmed, nervous laugh. A little bit.
It is a little bit of a nervous laugh. I'm in the thick of it, so I have to laugh about it.
So, and you are just a perfect example. You have multiple offers. You work one-on-one with people. You have an education branch. You design Squarespace templates, which is how I originally found you. And then what I was so drawn to within your brand is, your commitment to the climate and nature, and that every time, that you donate a tree for each purpose. Like that, all of these things are the other controversial elements of AI that I'm so curious about, because I'll say one quick thing before. In the AI editing world, the amount of energy it takes, because we're processing now, oh my gosh, with Canon, for example, CR3, massive digital files from mirrorless cameras, and it's able to cull a shoot, for example. I mean, it's just lightning speed, right?
Absolutely.
And it's not about how fast your Wi-Fi is, anymore. So I usually direct my students in my online course and people in my audience to use companies that align with the environmental impacts. And like Aftershoot, for example, they're very progressive and they're doing really good things. And so that's kind of where I've guided people in the editing world. But I'm so curious, your thoughts as someone so committed to sustainability and everything on this piece.
Yeah. Sustainability with AI is a big topic, and it's quite nuanced, and in no way am I going to say that I'm an expert, but there is also, like, going all the way back to your question prior about like misconceptions. I've seen some things go viral just simply like on TikTok and Instagram saying that one prompt was equivalent to dumping a bottle of water onto the ground or something of that sort. And essentially all this was a hook. This was just a powerful line that someone used and it went viral. When you dive deeper into it, it's just so much more complicated than that. And there's a big difference between how much consumption is used with AI prior to training, so the model. So ChatGPT is actually post-training. It was trained in the development of it, and so now it uses significantly less. And so there's a lot of elements, and the truth is that they're constantly trying to innovate. This is not something that they are sitting on and they're just like, this is bad for the environment, we're just going to accept this. It's like, no, every single time a model comes out, it's more efficient and it uses less power every single time, which is why we're like, we want advancement, but with advancement comes other complications as well, right? There's a very, very, very duality is reality here, you know?
Totally.
But when it
Well
comes
said.
to sustainability, I actually have a very strong opinion about this because I think in general, fast content is just not the way that we should be creating. We should not be the kind of, collective community of creators who are posting every single day, multiple times a day, just for the sake of posting. I think that our impact here is that we are essentially training the future of tech, because the way AI learns is by consuming everything we've put out on the internet. That's the truth. It's a language model. All it has done is consumed everything on Google, everything that we put out there. That's how it's learned. So it's as fast as, it's like as creative and incredible as all humans collectively that have posted online. That's why it's so incredible, because it's really just people's creative artistry and intelligence and brilliance. But there's also a lot of bad stuff out there, right? There's a lot of diversity issues here because AI is based on who trained it and who built it from the beginning, and we have to worry about that. I'm losing my train of thought here because I have
It's
so
okay.
many thoughts here.
You have so much knowledge around it that
It's so vast. But back to the sustainability part. I think we have to be mindful with our use, right? We don't want to be just constantly refining. You're going to get, for a couple different reasons. We don't need to get in perfectionism. We don't need to get stuck into imposter syndrome. And we don't need to keep using AI so much that you're trying to get to this finalized perfect version, which doesn't exist. The perfect version is when we put it out there and we get feedback from real people and we hear what they really think, right? So there's that reason, but there's also like a digital storage issue at hand. It's not only like the impact on the environment, but like the digital storage, like we have to consider what we're putting out there, what we're using this for, how much we're using this for. And that comes back to the nervous system regulation, right? Take days off. Don't use it as much. Put time limits on it for yourself, because that helps the environment and it helps you, right?
Yeah.
And hopefully these companies that are at the leading this tech innovation continue to do so, because our daily input is not the thing that's affecting the environment, right? Of course, it's not our individual, it's our collective use, and we only can use the tools at hand. So I think we have to kind of put pressure on the companies that are leading this to be like, make better choices. Use our,
Yeah. And like so many larger issues in the world, it can be easy as one person to have the narrative of like, oh, like what's one plastic bottle in the trash can gonna do? Like that kind of like, oh, well, I don't make a big impact. But the reality is it is a community effort that everyone is a part of. And so to me, it does align with the environment when I think of it on this global scale, right? So we can only move forward spreading that message to our peers, to our families, to our friends, to our audiences. I don't have a huge audience, but I don't have a small one. So here we go. We just start where we can, right?
You start where we can. And that's the best thing you could possibly do. It's collective.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's use our voice.
Yep. Use our voice. Okay. So what I would love to wrap up with today, can you share the top 3 tips for using AI mindfully as a creative professional?
Okay. So honestly, number 1 is just to be human first, right? Be real with your audience. Just tell people that you actively use AI in your work and you use it to save time, and why you do it. Tell people why. It's because I want to be more creative for you. I want to have more energy. Be real, about editing, captions, things like that. I just think that, but this is also a discernment thing, right? We have to personally decide our choices here. But I think the more real we are with people, the better in business in general. And like, no matter what it's doesn't matter how advanced it gets. It's not going to ever take away from who you are. So as long as you can lead with who you are, that's number one. I would say continue to use it as a tool, not a replacement in general. Just think of it as another tool in your business. And to not use it could be actually doing more harm for your business than good, right? So think of it as just a tool that's available to you, you want to use it. It's actually kind of incredible. And to be sometimes be grateful that we have this tool in our lifetime. I think it's kind of exceptional in that way. And then I would say protect your work, maybe, especially for creative, subtle watermarks. I know that depends on the person, but things like that, metadata, just using the tools available to you to make sure that all of your protective work, like your photography and everything is really protected, as well as any other art that you make. I could come up with more tips, but those are my three.
No, those are three incredible tips. I'm going to piggyback on the third one before we wrap up. Within Adobe Lightroom, which I'd say 95 to 99% of photographers use, you can select all. And you can go so in depth with the metadata that's coded into your images now. And so larger tech companies, Squarespace, Showit, they are now reading this metadata, which is protecting your work. So to all the photographers listening to this, DM me, feel free to email me if you need a lesson on this. But not only can you copyright it several different ways, you can have your name, your business name. I mean, it can go pretty extensive, so your work is protected. And that is something that I'm really encouraging all of the photographers in my community to do. So it sounds like we're aligned there. But
that's really smart. Yeah. I love that. That's a great tip. It's a great
And
tip.
even just on Google, like Google is now integrating and using AI actively, as we all know. So it's just a really good practice. And I know we can all get busy and forget these little things, but we are living in a massive technological boom. I guess that's the word I'm going to use. I mean, it's like a huge wave. Seriously. So I feel like I could talk to you for 2 more hours is how I feel about this topic.
I feel like we can keep going.
So I think what we're going to do, let's stop here for today. Everybody, please check out the AI Assistant Workbook in the show notes. And then Britta, I'm just going to have you back on and we're going to continue in all the topics because this is actively evolving by day.
Every single day.
We can touch base next month or in a couple of months. But thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. This was amazing.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Bye.
I really don't want you to miss out on future episodes of Focus and Flourish. When you subscribe or follow this podcast on your favorite listening app, you'll be the first to know when new episodes are released. You'll never lose your place in an episode if you need to leave early. So go on, join and subscribe to the community that's committed to working smarter, not harder. Let's scale together.